Number 1. The poorest oil-producing nation in the world. Timor-Leste is considered one of the poorest countries in the world. As of 2024, the country's GDP is only about 1.8 billion US dollars, smaller than the economy of a wealthy county in New York. The average per capita income is only a few hundred to over $1,000 per year, and more than 40% of the population lives below the poverty line. In rural areas, many families still maintain a self-sufficient lifestyle by growing their own vegetables, raising fish, and keeping poultry. Life is so difficult that people have a concept called the hungry season, which lasts from November to March when the dry season causes food supplies to run out. During this time, many households had to survive on tree roots, cassava, or green bananas. Chronic malnutrition affects over 40% of children, reflecting the nation's alarming reality. The irony is that Timor-Leste possesses significant oil and gas resources, with hundreds of millions of barrels of oil lying beneath the Timor Sea. If they could enjoy the full profits, the people's standard of living could reach the world's high average. But for decades, most of the benefits from this resource have not gone to them. When it was under Indonesian rule, Australia and Indonesia signed a joint exploitation agreement, and the Timorese received nothing. After independence, the country began a fierce struggle for its rights. In 2018, Timor-Leste and Australia signed the Timor Sea Maritime Boundary Treaty at the United Nations, the first compulsory conciliation case under the law of the Sea Convention. However, the reality remains unfair because the Greater Sunrise Field, the largest oil field in the region, is 80% located in Australian waters. Although on paper the split is 90% for Timor and 10% for Australia, Timor's actual profit share is only about 18%. Despite facing difficulties, Timor-Leste did not give up. After nearly 20 years of negotiations, they have regained 70 to 80% of the revenue from important mines. However, the path to turning resources into prosperity is still long. The National Oil Fund, established in 2005, currently holds approximately $18 billion, a significant amount relative to the size of the economy. However, this figure is declining because oil and gas production has decreased by more than half over the past decade. Timor-Leste is also the only country in Southeast Asia that sends all its oil and gas revenue into a single fund, the Petroleum Fund. Based on GDP scale, this fund is equivalent to over 900% of annual economic output, placing it among the highest in the world. The country's greatest hope lies in the $50 billion Greater Sunrise Project, considered a potential game-changer for Timor-Leste's economic future. If you believe this country can become the next oil miracle, leave your predictions in the comments section. Number 2. East Timor, where cultures intersect. In East Timor, a person's fate is sometimes determined by the entrails of an animal. It sounds unbelievable, but this is a real custom that has existed for many generations. Before getting married, going to school, or starting a business, people will hold a sacrifice ceremony. The shaman lights candles, offers a chicken or goat, and then observes the animal's heart. If the heart is bright red and without bruises, the ancestors have agreed. But if there are any bad signs, all plans must be put on hold. In a wedding, the most important thing is not the attire, but the dowry. The groom's family must bring buffalo, cows, or pigs, and the more they bring, the greater the honor. In many regions, the buffalo is a mandatory item. The two families also exchanged money, silver, woven cloth, wine, and salt as a bond between the two clans rather than a ritual of love. Important community rituals often take place around the Uma Lulik, or sacred house. These are conical wooden houses, up to 15 meters high, and many of them have been standing for over 300 years. They are one of the few remaining examples of indigenous architecture in Southeast Asia that have retained their original appearance. Each clan, called Amara, is associated with a sacred animal considered an ancestor. Members are absolutely forbidden from eating that animal because they believe this behavior will anger their ancestors. Some places abstain from dog meat because ancestors once considered this species a companion. Others abstain from goat, pork, or quail, depending on local legends. The differences are also stark between regions. Some mountain communities abstain from all types of seafood because they believe their ancestors came from the sea, while coastal residents rely on fish and shrimp for their daily lives. What makes East Timor special is that despite modernization, these traditional beliefs still coexist with the new religion. Although 97% of the population is Catholic, most still maintain ancestor and animistic rituals. The blend of Christianity and indigenous beliefs was recognized by UNESCO as intangible cultural heritage in 2012. This shows that, despite being small and poor, East Timor has maintained its unique identity in a world that is changing every day. Number 3. Timor-Leste and what few people know. Timor-Leste is one of the youngest countries in Asia, located east of Indonesia, and is famous for its sacred connection to crocodiles. The people believe their ancestors originated from this ancient creature, and the legend of the island's formation is an important part of their spiritual identity. The story goes that a boy once saved a dying crocodile. When he recovered, the crocodile took him on a journey across the ocean to show his gratitude. After many years, when it no longer had the strength, the crocodile said it would transform into a home for him. It sank into the sea and became the island of Timor today. From above, Timor-Leste looks like a giant crocodile resting in the sea, with its head facing west and its tail stretching out into the Banda Sea. People call crocodiles grandfather to show respect for their ancestors and consider them a sacred protective symbol. Despite their reverence for this animal, the people of Timor-Leste still have to live with the danger. Saltwater crocodiles here can grow up to 6 meters long and occasionally attack fishermen. On average, there is one death case every month. However, the people didn't see it as malice, but believed that the crocodile only punished those who did wrong. The law absolutely prohibits harming crocodiles, as this is considered an insult to ancestors. A familiar saying, "Crocodiles can attack you, but if you fight back, you're the one breaking the law." This clearly demonstrates the unique relationship between humans and sacred animals. Beside religion, Timor-Leste also has a special currency system. This country, which is larger than 15,000 square kilometers, is the smallest independent nation in the world and uses the US dollar for all financial activities. After 2002, when the economy was still young, using USD helped stabilize and attract investment. In 2003, the country issued a set of centavo coins equivalent in value to US cents, featuring the dugong and the adan drum to honor traditional culture. This is a rare set of currency in the region that doesn't feature a leader's image, and when paying with USD, you might receive these unique cultural coins as change. Timor-Leste is also home to the world's only naturally occurring coffee hybrid of Timor. Discovered in Ermera in 1927 and recognized by the FAO, this variety combines the resistance of Robusta with the flavor of Arabica. Thanks to the cool climate and volcanic soil, the coffee here is completely organic, slow-ripened, and has a very clean aftertaste. Although coffee accounts for over 80% of export value, most of it is branded by foreign companies, leading to Timor-Leste being called an invisible nation on the organic coffee map. If you find this land interesting, leave a comment with the number 1. Number 4. A tearful journey to independence. Timor-Leste is one of the few countries that paid an extremely high price for its independence, with nearly a third of its population perishing in the struggle for freedom. The story begins in 1515, when the Portuguese first set foot in Ocus and made it their first colonial outpost to exploit sandalwood and coffee. Over 4 centuries of rule have made Ocus an 815 square kilometer special region, completely isolated from the rest of the country. For 400 years, Portugal barely developed its economy or infrastructure, leaving behind primarily language and religion. Portuguese became the official language, and 98% of the population is Catholic, making Timor-Leste the most Catholic country in Asia. During World War II, Japan occupied the area for only a few years, but caused the deaths of 40,000 to 70,000 people, equivalent to 15% of the population. In 1942, nearly 400 Australian soldiers arrived to support the resistance and were sheltered by the local population for 10 months, creating a little-known secret war. After the war, Portugal returned, but the Carnation Revolution in 1974 led to the collapse of the colonial system. The Timorese declared independence on November 28, 1975. Just 9 days later, Indonesia invaded, citing the reason of preventing communism. The occupation lasted 24 years, resulting in over 200,000 deaths. In 1999, the United Nations organized a referendum, and 78% of the people chose independence. Pro-Indonesian forces retaliated, causing the Dili massacre with over 1,400 deaths and 70% of the infrastructure destroyed. The United Nations was forced to intervene, and by 2002, the flag of Timor-Leste officially flew, marking the birth of one of the youngest nations in the world. Number 5. A sad football story in East Timor. In Timor-Leste, football is considered part of the national soul. From red dust fields to coastal fishing villages, or even in the capital city of Dili, the image of barefoot children chasing a worn-out ball is always familiar. Adults stood around the dirt field cheering as if they were watching the final, because for them, football is not just a sport, but also a place that fosters a spirit of unity after years of conflict. Timor-Leste joined the AFF Cup in 2004 and became a FIFA member in 2005, but it wasn't until 2012 that they achieved their first victory against Cambodia, ending an 8-year winless streak. In 2 decades, the team played over 80 international matches but won fewer than 10. Heavy defeats like losing 0-8 to Thailand or 1-10 to Vietnam have happened many times. Despite this, the people still love their team because they see an image of their small and resilient country. The players don't play for money. They practiced on a dirt field, without shoes or stands, but still fought to wear the national flag on their chests. In Timor-Leste, winning and losing are not as important as being able to play, be trusted, and sing the national anthem together. Few people know that this country once completely banned martial arts activities. After independence in 2002, many karate, silat, and taekwondo clubs sprang up but quickly turned into rival groups. Tensions erupted during the 2006 Dili riots, forcing over 150,000 people to evacuate, which is equivalent to 15% of the population. In 2013, the government was forced to issue a nationwide ban on all forms of organized martial arts training. After many years, regulations were relaxed, but subjects had to be registered and were closely monitored. Today, martial arts tournaments are very rare and mostly for show, serving as a reminder that the current stability comes at the cost of too much loss. Number 6. Marital pressure in East Timor. Timorese women possess a strong and rustic beauty, with sun-kissed skin and gentle smiles, a result of a life intertwined with labor and resilience. But behind that resilience lies a worrying reality. Child marriage remains widespread across the country. More than 20% of women marry before the age of 18, and the majority do not decide their own marriages. Many marriages are arranged by parents based on a dowry that includes buffalo, cattle, money, or jewelry. The larger the dowry, the more honor the family has, making early marriage for daughters seen as a way to reduce burden and ensure economic security. From a young age, girls are taught to sacrifice, become diligent wives, and patient mothers. Women here have to shoulder almost all household chores: cooking, childcare, farming, fetching water, and even working in the fields alongside their husbands. In some regions, it is believed that to maintain happiness, a woman must know how to brew delicious coconut wine. Those beliefs cause them to overwork, even though they are the very ones who preserve the traditional way of life. Amidst that burden, a special symbol still shines: Tais weaving. Each Tais cloth is hand-woven on a rustic wooden loom, taking 30 to 60 days to complete. This craft was recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage in 2021, showcasing the perseverance and creativity of Timorese women. For them, Tais is not just clothing, but also a story of tribe and history told through each pattern. Timor-Leste culture also believes that many children are a blessing. On average, each woman has 4 to 5 children, and in rural areas, that number can reach 12. Therefore, the beauty of Timorese women lies not only in their appearance, but also in the vitality and dignity of those who preserve the nation's spirit. Number 7. A dream destination for divers. If there's any place that makes scientists exclaim that underwater paradise still exists, it's Atauro Island in Timor-Leste. This small island, located 24 kilometers north of the capital Dili, is likened to an unpolished gem of the ocean. In the 2016 survey, experts recorded up to 643 fish species around Atauro's coral reefs, the highest number ever recorded in any marine area in the world. Some species are completely new to science. Atauro is located within the Coral Triangle, which is known as the Amazon of the ocean due to its richest marine ecosystem on the planet. Since tourism and commercial exploitation are not highly developed, the underwater landscape remains pristine. In 2023, the government nominated this area to UNESCO for recognition as Timor-Leste's first marine biosphere reserve, covering over 13,000 hectares, including coral reefs and whale migration routes. Atauro is also a stopover for blue whales, humpback whales, and pods of tropical dolphins. On calm days, you might see whales spouting right next to the boat, or dolphins leaping out of the waves as if performing. The water is so clear that you can see the bottom dozens of meters deep. Just a few minutes of diving, and you'll encounter sea turtles, hammerhead sharks, and vibrant coral gardens. If you want a high-altitude challenge, leave the sea and head to Mount Ramalau, the highest mountain in Timor-Leste, or the Maubisse Plateau, with steep roads for mountain biking enthusiasts. This is also the main course for the Tour de Timor, one of the world's toughest races, which covers hundreds of kilometers over steep hills and rocky streams. Every year, hundreds of athletes come here to test their limits. For about $70 a day, you can rent a car, hurtle down the mountainside, and realize that in Timor-Leste, paradise exists both beneath the waves and atop the pristine plateau peaks. Number 8. Unusual dishes in Timor-Leste. Timor-Leste cuisine is a unique blend of local flavors and Portuguese influences. Using familiar ingredients like fish, corn, bananas, or sweet potatoes, the locals create rustic yet flavorful dishes that are both approachable and reminiscent of classic European cuisine. One of the most typical dishes is sabuco fish marinated in lemongrass, lime, and chili, then grilled over hot coals. The aroma of incense smoke wafted through the fishing villages, transforming the dish into a symbol that appeared at every festival. Alongside that is buffalo skin salad, a crispy and spicy dish made from thinly sliced boiled buffalo skin mixed with lime, chili, and wild herbs, reflecting the strength and delicacy of the Timorese people. The influence of Portugal is evident in the dish feijoada, which consists of black beans stewed with pork and sausage. The Timorese make this dish spicier and add tropical herbs, often cooking it on weekends when the family gathers around a steaming pot. In the Lotem region, tukir na'in is a sticky rice dish wrapped in banana leaves, steamed with coconut milk and sea salt. The dish only appears in March during the Sea Thanksgiving Festival and was recognized as a culinary heritage in 2018. In Atauro, people prepare fehuk red rice offered to ancestors in November, cooked with early spring water and symbolizing rebirth. Chili peppers play a particularly important role. Timorese often say that a meal hasn't started until there's a bowl of pounded chili on the table. In Bocao or Ermera, each family cultivates over 200 chili plants for cooking and gifts, viewing the spiciness as a symbol of a strong and straightforward personality. Finally, there's Ermera coffee grown at an altitude of approximately 1,200 meters. It's completely organic and accounts for over 80% of export value. For the Timorese, the smell of roasted coffee in the morning is the soul of the home, representing the hard work and perseverance of the people. Though small, Timor-Leste leaves its mark with every dish, where history, beliefs, and pride blend in every flavor. Number 9. The world of unique used cars in Timor. East Timor is often called a paradise for old cars, but not the shiny classic cars you see in Cuba. Here, old car has a very practical meaning, worn, dusty, and passed through many owners. Due to limited economic resources, most vehicles are used cars imported from Japan. It is estimated that 80% of the cars on the road are old vehicles, mostly older Toyota, Nissan, or Mitsubishi models, which are durable and easy to repair. Many of the chairs were torn, chipped, scratched, and even rusty, but they still ran smoothly on all terrains. Vehicles 15 to 20 years old, which are often discarded elsewhere, still climb hills, ford streams, and navigate rough roads daily. In rural areas, motorcycles are still the dominant mode of transportation. They are used to transport people, goods, livestock, and sometimes even an entire family. It's common to see 3 or 4 people riding in the same vehicle or sacks tied higher than the driver's head. Many people also modify their bikes into motodaps, adding baskets or cargo platforms for traveling on dirt roads. Another distinctive image is the microlets, the colorful small buses that run all over Dili. Each line has its own color, so you can guess the direction just by looking at the paint color. Inside the microlet, it's always lively with loud music, stickers, and sometimes even flashing lights, making it feel like a mobile party. The vehicle has no fixed stops. You just need to wave to get on and tap a coin on the metal bar to get off. Nevertheless, getting around is not easy at all. Most of the roads are unpaved, full of potholes, and easily turn into mud during the rainy season. Some remote bridges are so narrow that only one vehicle can pass at a time. Traffic signs and lights are very scarce, almost only found in Dili. In traffic culture, trucks are given priority first, followed by cars, motorcycles, and finally pedestrians. Number 10. The capital that makes tourists want to stay. Dili, the small capital of Timor-Leste, is the only capital in Southeast Asia built along a nearly 30-kilometer-long curved bay, surrounded by the Tasitolu mountain range and the deep blue Banda Sea. From above, the city looks like a coral reef stretching out into the ocean, leading many to call it Asia's closest capital to the horizon. Despite its modest size, Dili retains the unique beauty of a city that lives by the sea. Just a few minutes from the center, you can dive into the crystal-clear water to see the pristine coral reef and hundreds of tropical fish. Nowhere else is working in the morning and going diving in the sea in the afternoon as familiar a routine as it is here. Over 400 years of Portuguese colonization have left Dili with a European elegance, evident in the red-tiled roof of the Palacio do Governo and the ancient churches nestled among the coconut trees. The decades under Indonesian control that followed added a Southeast Asian flavor, creating a blend of Lisbon and Bali, both ancient and modern. The most prominent symbol is the 27-meter-tall Christ the King statue facing the sea. From the hilltop, you can take in the entire view of Dili, nestled between the mountains and the sea, leading many to compare it to a miniature version of Rio de Janeiro in Asia. As night falls, Tasitolu Square transforms into the city's largest night market, with over 5,000 people gathering to enjoy grilled fish, drink Timorese coffee, and watch Tais weaving performances. In 2023, this activity was included by UNESCO in the list of intangible cultural heritage in need of urgent safeguarding. Dili is neither noisy nor ostentatious. After 9 o'clock in the evening, the pace of life slows down, and people sit by the beach drinking coconut wine and enjoying the night breeze. The city has a high level of safety, with a crime rate significantly lower than many other capitals in the region. A stroll under the moonlight is enough to understand why Dili is called the most relaxed capital in Asia. Number 11. Festival culture with a strong Timorese identity. The most famous festival in Timor-Leste is the Carnaval de Dili. While reminiscent of the Brazilian carnival, the version in Dili has its own unique appeal. Held in October to celebrate the founding of the capital, the three-day festival transforms the entire city into an outdoor stage. Thousands of people from 13 provinces flocked to participate in the dazzling parades, each group showcasing the unique costumes, dances, and music of their region. The interesting point is that participants not only wore traditional costumes, but also incorporated modern elements, dressing up as giant crocodiles to evoke the founding legend, or wearing hats modeled after coffee beans, Timor-Leste's main agricultural product. Even government agencies formed their own parade teams, dancing in the streets to compete for prizes worth thousands of dollars. Children have a competition called The Future of Timor, where they dress up as doctors, astronauts, or future presidents. The second largest event is the Ramalau pilgrimage, the country's most important religious gathering. In October, thousands of climbers hiked through the night, carrying candles and singing hymns, creating a long line of people amidst the mountain mist. At the top is a 3-meter-tall statue of the Virgin Mary, erected in 1997 and retained after independence as a symbol of reconciliation. Pilgrimage to Mount Ramalau is not only a religious ritual, but also attracts visitors who want to conquer the roof of Timor-Leste. The most unique festival is the Deep Sea Festival, which takes place in February or March in Kam and Baucau when deep-sea worms rise to breed. People believe they bring good luck and favorable harvests. Fishermen use nets to harvest schools of shimmering worms, which are then prepared as grilled, stir-fried, or cooked in a special coconut milk soup that only appears a few days each year. Number 12. Places you must visit in Timor. If you're looking for a pristine and breathtakingly beautiful wilderness, Jacó Island, the easternmost point of Timor-Leste, is the place to start. The island belongs to Nino Konis Santana National Park, is only a few hundred meters from the mainland, and is completely uninhabited. The government of Timor-Leste prohibits construction and settlement because Jacó is considered a sacred island, a place where the sea god and the mountain god harmonize. Visitors must take fishermen's wooden boats and are only allowed to visit during the day, not stay overnight. Jacko Island's waters are so clear that you can see schools of fish swimming around the coral reefs right beneath the boat. The fine white sand stretches beneath the coconut trees, while the distant limestone mountains create a scene that is both pristine and majestic. Deeper inland is Mobis, a mountain town located at an altitude of approximately 1,400 meters and 70 kilometers from Dili. This place is known as the cool roof of Timor-Leste, with year-round temperatures ranging from only 18 to 20 degrees, and is the country's most important center for growing Arabica coffee. At the top of the hill is the Maubis Pousada, a mansion built in the 1930s during the Portuguese era, now a guest house with panoramic views of the valley, most beautiful in the morning when fog covers the hills. On weekends, many Dili residents go up to Mobis to escape the heat, drink coffee, and enjoy the peaceful mountain air. If you want to explore the reef up close, head to Dollar Beach in Mediaut, just 5 kilometers from the center of Dili. The name originates from the $1 fee that visitors used to pay. The beach is famous for its clear water, gentle waves, and nearshore coral reefs, ideal for snorkeling beginners. On weekends, people bring food, play volleyball, and grill fish right on the sand, making it the most convenient beach for visitors who want to enjoy the Timor Sea without traveling far from the capital. Number 13. Unsolved Mysteries in Timor-Leste. About 8 kilometers west of the capital, Dili, is Lake Tasitolu, a beautiful but mysterious place. This place is famous for a strange natural phenomenon: 3 lakes that change color cyclically, unrelated to climate or geology. Sometimes the water is crystal clear, but just a few days later it turns dark red like blood. Although red algae were initially suspected, analyses did not detect a sufficient algal density to explain this phenomenon. Local people believe that every time the lake turns red, it's a sign of major changes in the country. The most famous coincidence occurred just before Timor-Leste declared independence in 2002, when the lake surface was also red. At night, many people avoid this area and tell stories of seeing shadowy figures walking along the lake shore, holding oil lamps. Further east is the remote region of Tutuala with Lene Hara Cave, a major archaeological mystery of Timor-Leste. The cave is located close to the sea and has a high, dry entrance, so it has been used by humans for a very long time. Archaeologists discovered this site in the 1960s and found multiple layers of habitation: stone tools, seashells, animal bones, and even ancient human remains. Some bones are estimated to be around 35,000 years old, while nearby ash and shell layers are only about 3,000 years old, creating a significant discrepancy that has been debated by researchers for decades. On the cave walls, there are also faint red streaks and blurred carvings. Some experts consider it primitive prehistoric art, but the local people believe it is the trace of ancient spirits. The strange thing is that this red pigment has never faded, even after thousands of years. For over half a century, numerous archaeological teams from Australia, Portugal, and Japan have studied Lene Hara, collecting thousands of artifacts, but they have yet to agree on the true history of the cave. Therefore, Lene Hara continues to be one of the greatest mysteries of Timor-Leste. Number 14. Survival tips for visiting Timor-Leste. Tourism in Timor-Leste is not too expensive, but it's also not as cheap as many people expect, as the tourism industry in this young nation is still developing. In Dili, visitors can find a few accommodation options ranging from budget guest houses to 3- or 4-star hotels, although the number is not large. Simple hostels or guest houses often cost between $15 and $25 per night and usually include a light breakfast. Mid-range hotels range from $40 to $80, while the few resorts on Atauro or Calm Island can reach $120 a night due to high transportation and supply costs. The food prices are relatively affordable. A basic local meal usually costs only $3 to $5, including rice, grilled fish, and vegetables. At restaurants serving international customers, prices can range from $10 to $15 per dish. In traditional markets, bananas, mangoes, coffee, and some snacks are only about $1. The new means of transportation is what surprises many tourists. Public transportation primarily relies on small buses that cost about 25 cents per ride. For long journeys like Dili to Baucau, bus tickets are usually around $10. Taxis in the city don't use meters, so you need to negotiate beforehand. Short distances usually cost $3 to $5. Renting a private car with a driver costs between $70 and $100 per day. Most attractions have low or no entrance fees. The beach, the Christ the Redeemer statue, and the Tasitolu area are all free of charge. Diving tours on Atauro Island range from $80 to $150 depending on the time and equipment. Mountain hikes or cultural village tours typically cost between $30 and $60. Internet connectivity is still limited. A 4G SIM card from Telkomsel or Timor Telecom costs about $3, but a 5 GB data package can cost up to $10, and network quality is slow. With a tight budget, travelers can spend around $40 to $60 per day on basic accommodation, meals, and local transportation. If you want a more comfortable experience with better dining options, private car rentals, or scuba diving, a reasonable daily budget is between $100 and $150. Number 15. How much does tourism in Timor-Leste cost? When you arrive in Timor-Leste, the first thing to remember is not to have too many expectations about a fixed schedule. The concept of punctuality here is very flexible. Buses, ferries, or even flights can be hours late without anyone hurrying. Many tourists arrive at the dock at 8 in the morning but have to wait until noon to depart, so always allow plenty of time. Electricity and internet are also unstable. Even in Dili, electricity can be cut off for several hours each day, and in many rural areas, there is no phone signal. Some hotels only run generators at night, so you should ask carefully before booking. Choosing the right season will help you have a more complete experience. October to November is the blue whale migration season through the Ombai-Wetar corridor, one of the few places in the world where they can be observed just 5 kilometers from the shore. Please book the tour about 48 hours in advance and choose the morning when the wind is under 15 knots. During the dry season, the plains can exceed 32 degrees Celsius, so don't forget sunscreen, water, and a wide-brimmed hat. Sunday holds special religious significance. About 98% of the population is Catholic, so most shops and banks close early. The two most important days are May 20th and November 28th, which often have parades and road closures, so you should arrange your transportation in advance. Prices at tourist spots can be higher for international visitors. A bottle of water can cost from $50 to $1.50. It's best to negotiate with a friendly attitude because Timorese people are gentle and avoid confrontation. In communication, use the word obrigado to create a good impression. When taking photos, always ask permission first because some communities believe that taking photos without permission can offend ancestors. Overall, let the slow pace of life in Timor guide you. A morning cup of coffee, a noisy microlet ride, or a moment watching the sunset over the Banda Sea will be the most memorable experiences. You've just gone through 15 small but significant facts about Timor-Leste. If you find it worthwhile, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Next time, I'll take you to other wonderful lands. What fact surprised you the most? Type $ number in the comments section, e.g., number 1, nur 7, nar 12, and send this video to a friend who loves unique travel. Note: content is for reference only. Please check the information before planning.